Another one for Tommy boy. Another one for the world. Another one for the listeners.
Episode 12 of the Third Leg Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Riley Warren. Alongside me today is my co-host, Dr. James Donovan. How you doing? How you been, buddy?
Pretty good. Long break. Ready to get back to it for today.
Yeah, it's
a
nice.
lot of stuff to catch up on.
For sure, bro. It's nice to hear from you. I got about 2 weeks. I was about 2 weeks deprived of talking sports, so I'm ready.
Absolutely. Let's get it.
Let's get it, man. Let's start off with some basketball, bro.
All right. Well, the thing that everyone is talking about today is what the hell happened to the Los Angeles Lakers. They got swept by the Nuggets 4-0. They were up huge yesterday, and then second half happened, and where did LeBron, where did Anthony, where did D'Angelo, where did they go? What happened? Jokic and Jamal said, go have a vacation. We're going to the championship. So Nuggets win 4-0. They beat the Lakers by 2. LeBron had a chance to tie it up, send it to OT last night, and couldn't get it done. Got blocked, actually, to end the game. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts of last night, I'm not even going to lie to you. I turned the game off. When they were up that much, I was like, oh, okay. They'll probably be resting people by the start of the fourth if they still have a marginal lead, just to go into the next game at home and finish it off in Denver. And then I checked the score again in the fourth quarter and realized the whole state of California was missing from that game.
Right.
Like, I don't know how they can let up such a big lead. You know, like I couldn't believe they did it. Like I just sat there thinking about it. Just like, how do you blow this game down 3-0 in the series?
Right, and it's really like ultimately it always is the tale of two halves, right? When a big comeback happens like that. But LeBron, 31 points in the first half. They're up huge. I went to bed because I was like, well, this game's over. You know, we're going to have a game 5. And then I wake up today and I'm like, what? LeBron finished with 40? He only had 9 in the second half? Good Lord.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was hitting second half. LeBron only had 9. Most of the team was, under double digits. The second half, they barely scored, 40 points, 45 points or something like that?
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell didn't start. Only played 10 minutes, I think, something like that. Rui didn't do much. Austin Reeves didn't do much. Anthony Davis did have, I think he had 20, but that's Anthony Davis if he plays 3/4 of a basketball game. What it should be, right?
Yeah, if you're even lucky at that. Anthony Davis had 8 points at half, and it was all cool because LeBron had 31 and they were up so much. But then as the game trickles down and the lead is just getting chipped away at, someone has to step up. And you shouldn't be relying on Austin Reeves, Schroeder, Lonnie Walker. Right. Those are not the guys that you should be relying on. I mean, at the end of the day,
Tristan Thompson.
Was I in a time machine? Did
right?
I literally see him starting in a conference championship?
I couldn't believe it. They interviewed him at halftime. I'm like, what? LeBron had 31. You picked Double T to go over there and talk? What the? What are you doing?
It was the first interview he's had that wasn't on E! News in 4 years.
Right, absolutely. The man hadn't even played. He didn't even know he was going to play before the game last night. And coach was like, "Hey, Tristan, you're in. Get in there."
That's what I'm saying. The trainer had to run to the locker room and grab his jersey. He hasn't put it on in fucking 2 weeks.
Right, he had to throw the loafers away and put his game shoes on.
Yeah, exactly.
from the locker there. But yeah, LeBron James, 9 points in the second half. I think he played every minute of the game last night.
Yeah,
so people today were talking about how he can give you a half of what LeBron used to be, and then after that he's tanked. So can he be that guy for a team? Does he need someone to be Batman now and he be Robin? It's tough to say. 40 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, I think, last night.
Yeah, and my thing is, he had 31 at half. You're going to go in and you're going to change your game plan defensively to make sure that the Lakers can't cater to LeBron James in the second half. And that's what they did. They made other guys make shots. And guess what happened? They didn't fucking make them. And that's what happens. Right. And LeBron's going to pass it to the open guy. That's the worst thing about LeBron. He makes the play and nobody hits the shot. He's not just going to keep taking the ball even though he's having a hot night or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. No, absolutely. I think you're 100% correct. The Nuggets made the adjustment to say, okay, we tried to let LeBron beat us, but stop everyone else. That ain't working in the first half. So now we're going to go to okay, let's stop LeBron, make him kick, make everyone else beat us, and everyone else was just non-existent. They were all watching the LeBron show too. So
Yeah, I think the best thing they did was just being able to manage AD. They obviously shut LeBron down in the second half, but managing AD throughout that series, I thought they just did a good job with Gordon, and they switched him up with MPJ every once in a while just to get him some like quicker minutes and stuff. I just thought they never let him go on his streak. Like
right.
we already knew he doesn't do 2 games in a row, but just having 2 games in a series, AD hasn't done, and I don't think there's been enough hate on AD as of late. It's just been LeBron, 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 and obvious. That's kind of the narrative pushed, and those are going to be the most clicks at the end of the day. But I needed more from AD versus Gordon. You have to be able to put up numbers on Gordon. I know he's like the perfect specimen to be able to guard someone like that, but that's the time where you're going to get a lot of one-on-one looks.
And unfortunately, it seems like that's what we're falling into now with Anthony Davis. Like, you have to be the guy. You are, when you play and you play how you're supposed to, you're top 5 in the league, no doubt. And in big game, big moments, you just don't show up. Like, you pick and choose when you want to play, it feels like, and you never pick to play in the right time. Like, he had 20 and 14 last night, but that it was just such an average Anthony Davis game. He never at one point said, okay, give me the ball. I'm going to score 4 times in a row. Jokic outplayed him. Obviously, Jokic is probably the best basketball player in the world right now, but still, like, he got dominated by Jokic.
I mean,
go ahead.
Just going off Jokic, I just think he got robbed of the MVP. And watching this series is just like, it just hurts that he didn't get that on top of the crazy season he's going to have. I think he's going to win the chip. So I think he deserved the MVP along with the conference MVP and then eventually the finals MVP and the championship. It sucks that they kind of stripped that away from him, and then being able to just see it live. It's like, why is that stat done early?
Right. Let the season play itself out and then give the MVP.
Yeah, I never understood why they can't just wait till the end of the season anyways.
Right. Make it a pure regular season reward where playoffs don't matter at all, right?
Don't even do that. Do not even have the trophy if it's based off a regular season, because when do we ever grade people off the regular season? We never do.
I mean,
who cares about 80-plus games if you get 4-0 in the playoffs or 3-1, you know what I mean, or 4-1? I don't know. That trophy annoys me because it's so political. Can we just take the stats and then the wins and then where they're at when you give the trophy out? Like, just wait till the end of the year. The MVP doesn't have to be a championship winner, but at the end of the day, you should still see how the playoffs play out for the guys that you already know are in the conversation.
I agree with you. Jokic, just going off of this series, 27-point triple-double is what he averaged. That is just stupid against Anthony Davis.
He's not the most valuable player on his team, though, or in the league.
How could he be, right? Like, he should have won it for the 3rd time in a row. Obviously, you get the haters that say, no one should win it 3 times in a row, the MJ treatment, that kind of stuff.
Can you honestly say, though, if you took Joker and put him on the Sixers, that they're not in the finals? And then take it the other way. If you put Embiid on Denver loses this year. Denver isn't Denver without Joker.
I agree. Jokic is he's going to be an all-time talent when it all comes down to it. If he stays healthy, plays how long he should probably play, and, keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to be an all-time player. He might average a triple-double for a whole season, which if he does that as a big man, like Oscar and, Westbrook are the only 2 that ever have done it.
Right.
In a regular season. And if Jokic does it being the point forward, point center that he is, it's just, I don't know how you can debate that he's not going to end up in the top 10, right?
And also, just thinking off the top right now, all the best talent in the West, other than Sacramento, is on the way out. The Suns, Golden State, on the way out. So
Right.
Joker, and depending on what Dallas does, because I heard some rumors, AD to Dallas maybe.
Oh.
What would they do? What would they switch up there? Get Kyrie to the Lakers, AD to Dallas, some shit like that. But I feel like the NBA in the West is going to be in the palms of Joker's hands within the next 2 or 3 years. Like it already is, obviously. He's there. I'm not saying that, but it's going to be a soul at the beginning of the year leadership or expectation. You know, I think everything's in front of him. He could be like one of the all-time greats at the end of the day if he goes on one of these runs where he has 2-3 championships in the next 5 years type thing.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, like, people already call him the best passing big man of all time, which hard to argue with that, right? And then he just does things that, like, if you look at the dude, you don't anticipate it ever coming from him.
That stumbling shit and then just
dirking it. The step back rainbows that he did last night for 3. And then
from like here. He's got the Manny Pacquiao shot sometimes, dude.
Right. Just I don't even know if you can see the ball or feel the ball back here, but you just
it's unblockable. I can guarantee you that.
110% cannot be blocked. But I think the play that kind of just sums up, you know, Nikola Jokic, if you've never watched him play, go watch the game-winning basket last night that he just got the ball at the wing, took AD was in his face, took AD to the hole, went through Schroeder and Anthony Davis, laid it in. And I'm sorry, if you're Anthony Davis, you're supposed to be first team all defense. That can't happen. That cannot happen.
I mean, you might as well follow him at the end of the day because there ain't much stopping that man. He's gonna get the shot off.
And that's what everyone was saying today. Like, rip his arm off, make him go to the line.
That's the only chance he got, but it's kind of hard to hate. Who's taught that? That's got to be like a pre-timeout or a situational thing. Coach says, like, hey, follow him, don't let him shoot. Because nobody in the right mind is just thinking that, like, I'm going to get worked on defense. I need to follow him. No, like, you have the confidence that you're going to stop him, and it doesn't happen, and then hindsight's 20/20. So,
Yep. Another huge player for the Nuggets, though, also, and young guy coming back from injury. Great to see. Jamal Murray.
Dude. Dog.
The man is an animal.
Dog.
Averaged 32.5 points this series. Like, good night. I think he was 32.5. He averaged 6.5 and 5.5 rebounds and assists. So, right there with Jokic, like, they're Batman and Robin, whatever they got going, it's working.
Yeah, I feel like they have the best surrounding cast around them, too. Like, just all around. Them in Miami. And obviously, we think they're going to go to the finals. Me saying I think they're the best 2 teams is kind of just idiotic. But at the end of the day, I think they're the best 2 teams. Like, 5 players on the court at a time, weak link, and how many guys on the court can hit this shot, can hit a shot, can hit a contested shot. I think they're the best 2 teams. I think Denver with MPJ and Jamal Murray, I feel like they're bigger guards. And MPJ has been kind of wishy-washy, but Jamal Murray has been the complete constant throughout the year and playoffs. And thinking of Jamal Murray, I just wish that he never got hurt in the bubble because that's one of those what ifs. Like, you don't see many people playing at that caliber in the playoffs like that. So it would have been cool to see him finish out that playoffs and then be able to build off that. But it's really good to see him back at it.
Right, and like thinking back to it, he had a streak in the bubble where he was going for like 40, 50 a night, I'm pretty sure, looking back at it. He blew out the ACL, and then last year he got hurt again, I think.
Yeah, early.
Yeah, so this is really his first full season since the bubble. And it's just awesome to see that, like, okay, you got hurt, you got back to your level, and now you're even surpassing what everyone thought you could do. Obviously, he went to Kentucky out of high school, so everyone knew that he was good. But I don't know if anyone expected this good.
Right, and most of the time you think when a player gets injured and, like, the hype he had up to that injury, it's very, very hard to get back to that. So, 700 days later, almost 2 years, and he's back in the same spot in the conference finals and putting up 30 a game.
Yep, and especially with the ACL injury and having to be an explosive athlete, like, it's crazy how far we've come in with that surgery, but still, like, do you anticipate it? No. Does it happen? Yes, and it's always awesome to see.
For sure. It's probably because all those really good PT doctors we got.
Yeah, they'll be all right. Oh God! But yes, they are in the finals. The Nuggets. I, I'm just like, since we've been alive, I don't know that the Nuggets have ever. I don't think they've been in the championship series, right?
No, if they have, I blacked out and don't remember.
Right, because all I can think of, they were decent when Melo was there.
Never
Then
playoff decent.
right,
Never
and then
second
after,
round, yeah.
other than that, they're never really that good. Going back to what you were kind of saying as far as like moving forward and the talent moving out of the West or getting old in the West, I really think it'll come down to like the Nuggets being that team that everyone is shooting for, obviously, but then like the Kings, obviously, they have a young core. They're starting to turn their stuff around. And then the Thunder. The Thunder are coming, and they have a very talented young core.
For
So it'll
sure.
be interesting to see where stuff goes with basketball in the next couple years.
Yeah, I think if you're an actual NBA fan, there's been this looming thing with OKC where everyone has kind of jokingly said they got 40 picks in the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But it's about to come to fruition, and now you're starting
Right.
to see the picks and how it's panning out and how the front office is kind of thinking moving forward, and it's tall ball. A lot
Right.
of big
And
dudes.
And they kind of had like the trust the process mentality, but they didn't say it. And I think they did trust the process like to the nth degree of what Philly did,
For
right?
sure.
Like
Well,
they just have so many picks.
yeah, that was on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? Trust the process for a championship, like soon, and then they were just like, trust the tank process, just trust me. We know what we're doing here.
Right.
So
No,
two
I mean,
different trust the process, but it's good to see one's kind of working.
for sure. For sure. The other's about to explode.
Yeah.
But hey.
What? Hey, I didn't get to talk to you. I asked Gino.
Uh-huh.
What do you think's going on with Golden State? What do you think the play is, or what do you think they'll do there?
It's so tough to say, right? Like, how do you as a front office, knowing what you've built, ship out Draymond or Clay? You know Steph's never leaving. Steph will die a warrior, right?
Got it. There's money.
But like those three are just have been the horses in your stable that built your franchise. It took you from a laughing stock, like not a good franchise, and turned you into a multi-time NBA champion. Got you this new stadium that you're huge with the fans. I don't get how they don't, aren't warriors through their entirety of their NBA career. But if you're trading, you got to do it now because Clay's going to keep getting older. So ship Clay and Jordan Poole. Obviously, he's like suitcases are already packed, ready to get out.
Someone's got to take him though. He just
And
signed a
someone
monster
will.
contract. Like just signed a monster contract last year.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have to eat 200 milli, and then they know Jordan Poole. So who is taking that risk right now? So you're almost stuck with having to ship off Clay and Dre because Jordan Poole. Nobody. I would be so surprised. Maybe the Pistons dumbass would buy him, but I don't
Right.
know anyone else that's going to waste that money on someone who just shit the bed in the playoffs.
You're not wrong, and he looked like he quit on his team, like in all certainty. Like he didn't get playing time, so he's just whatever. I'm out here getting my money, calling it good.
I got my 200 mil for getting punched in the face by Draymond. I'll take it.
Right. I mean, if I'm the Warriors front office, I'm picking up the phone and calling everyone to see what package we could try and do.
Dude, they got a bunch of people. That's the thing. Wiggins, Looney, Kuminga, Draymond, and Clay.
Yep.
The fucking whitehead ginger.
DiVincenzo.
Yeah, however you say his name. Like, they have a bunch of expendable players.
Yep.
And then we know how they draft. So you don't know what they're going to do this year. You don't know who they're going to pick up. So it's going to be weird. It would really hurt me to see Clay go.
Oh, for sure. It would hurt. I mean, if you're an NBA fan, it would hurt to see Klay Thompson leave the Warriors.
Ideally, I would like to get Poole and Looney and maybe some of the other guys like Wiggins and Kuminga out of there for like another piece that can really play. Because Looney's just a big guy. You can go find a big guy. He doesn't have to score. All he literally has to do is get 45 rebounds a game and pass it to Steph. And then all the other guards, they didn't step up in the playoffs. It's not like these people are intangible. You need some more 3-and-D and then a stud, and you have 6 guys on the roster that are expendable. We'll see what happens. See if they do anything or just stick to their process one more year.
You know, and looking like when it's all said and done, looking back at it, the downfall of the Golden State Warriors might be them taking James Wiseman at pick number 2.
Here's the thing, though. You can't. It's one bad pick. One bad pick. Every other team in the span that they've got Clay to now have had 6 bad picks. So if that one bad, I mean, I can't even agree on that. Just because one bad pick and then your good picks are literal NBA All-Stars for 10 years in a row. 3 of them.
I get it. This is what I'm saying, though. Like, where their franchise was and knowing that they're getting older and, like, everyone was on, like, team-friendly deals. Steph wasn't getting paid what Steph should have got paid for a long time. And right when they were having to take James Wiseman is when, like, okay, we were going to have to make the change to paying these dudes, so we can't pay, the talent that come off the bench like we used to.
If I can slide something in there, that was LaMelo Ball year they passed on. By the way, just saying. And then the very next year they go with Poole. So, or 2 years, I can't remember. But that Wiseman year was the LaMelo Ball pass.
And I'm sure we could look at who they took or who they passed on and see like, oh, would this fit? But
that's so hard.
They knew like what they needed was a big dude who could be a stud. So they went with the guy that they thought. But Wiseman in college wasn't what he was all touted up to be. So
I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, all they needed was a Looney.
Right.
Because he did good like the last few years or whatever. That's all they needed. He just wasn't healthy enough to do it. So then they had to go pay some more money and get Looney.
Right. I mean, think of like their big guys for their entire runs. Zaza Pachulia, Andrew Bogut.
Legend.
But like he's a rebounding D guy. That's it, Looney, obviously. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, well, I guess it does make sense to me. It just sucks that they missed on that pick. If they're going to miss on a pick,
DeMarcus Cousins.
I mean, Boogie did play for him for a minute. They had David West also. Shout out him. He was fun to play with in NBA Live back in the day.
Oh, was he like a secret cheat code?
Oh yeah, him and CP3 on the Hornets. I used to shred everyone.
That's fucked up. And you're that guy in Madden that runs the one play over and over and over until they switch.
No. Anyone who wants to play in Madden can get it. That's for sure.
A win is a win. A win is a win.
Your brother and I have had some epic Madden showdowns.
Oh,
he has spiked a few controllers, that's for sure.
I already know that. He's probably did more damage to controllers than anyone I've ever known.
All right, one quick story, and then we'll get back on topic. But me and Jordan playing Madden, where he's at your dad's house, I'm at my house. I tell him, hey, call timeout for me. Give me one shot, one Hail Mary. I throw a Hail Mary to Calvin Johnson, beat him in the end zone. Zero time on the clock, and all I see is Harry Stones has gone offline.
Never.
He wouldn't text me back. He wouldn't call me back. Nothing.
Dude,
for like a week.
You were ghosted for a week, bro. He had to cool down from that. That's fucked up.
Good old Harry Stones. But, all right, back to the NBA. Heat are up 3-0 on the Celtics. So that game for us tonight actually probably already tipped off. Himmy Butler. Holy crap. Like, coming into it, we're like, okay, the Heat are lucky to be here. The Celtics, this is their time to get back to the championship. They're gonna take care of business. Game 1 happens, and you're like, okay, Jimmy Butler obviously did his thing. It's a fluke. The Celtics will get game 2, and then they'll get rolling again. Oh crap! They're down 2-0.
Oh,
all right,
shit,
game 3's a lock.
Both games at home.
Right. Game 3's a lock. Like, the Celtics have to win, wrong again. I just can't believe it. And I think it was awesome that he taunted Al Horford, that timeout thing. It's just, oh, God. He doesn't forget anything. And Grant Williams, you are an idiot. It was a game 2? Yeah, game 2. Have the lead in the fourth quarter. and you
It was like
start
8 points with like 5 minutes left.
and you start talking shit to Jimmy Butler.
Getting
It's
in
like
his face.
right. It's like doing it to Michael Jordan. Obviously, they're not like the same
It's his
player, but
son.
like
If you've seen
that
Reddit,
theory
if you've been
is
on Reddit,
fun.
yeah, it is.
The TikTok and Reddit theory of Jimmy Butler being Michael Jordan's long lost son. If you haven't looked into it, look into it because you might convince yourself the side by side's unreal.
It's never been proved. That's all I'm saying.
Like paternity test will prove it real fast, but yes, Jimmy Butler like mentality he's a dog. He'll run your team if he has the second team out there. It doesn't matter. Like he is that guy that every coach wants on their team. And
especially at the end of the game. My biggest praise for Jimmy Butler is being able to lock up the number one guard in the fourth quarter on the opposing team. That is the biggest praise. And nobody's really been talking about it because he's been so offensively dominant. But if you watch him, the impact he has on defense is impeccable. And you can't calculate that on the stat sheet because he's in their heads. He's turning Tatum over 2-3 times in the fourth quarter when they need it the most, when they're down. Like, it's cool to see Jimmy be able to play both sides of the ball. There's not too many dominant guards that do that in the league anymore. It's just fun to watch. He's really fun to watch, and he's extremely easy to get behind and root for as a fan.
I mean, I can't say it better than what you just did, right? Like, he's the only guy that will lock you up on defense. He won't guard you until the fourth quarter because he knows that's when it's go time, right? Obviously, if the game's getting out of hand, he'll say, okay, I'll take him now. But fourth quarter comes, he's going to lock you up, and then their offense is literally give Jimmy the ball and get the hell out the way. Set him a pick when he wants one, and get the hell out the way.
Get the hell out the way.
He said that in an interview, though, too. Like, give me the ball and get the hell out the way. Like, that's what our game plan was.
For sure.
And he can't be stopped.
You can't. And even when they do stop him and somebody pinches down, that guy that's open is hitting the three. Their team is insane with their 6 guard rotation they have. Like, I feel like I've never seen it. Like, I've never seen this many rotational guards be able to come in and be counted on and then actually hit the shot for like 3 consecutive series. Like, if you just look at the team, you would never think Miami's going to be this dominant team because their guards are just so average. And then
that's what LeBron needed.
Well, yeah, that's what everyone needs. Like, if you want any team that loses, they have these shots that are open. They just miss them. That's like what almost every game comes down to, are these open, good looks that the number 1 or number 2 guy doesn't hit. And they just have to rely on the team. It's like, that's just what happens. But Miami and Denver have been the only 2 teams to consistently do that.
You're not wrong.
And they don't.
Okay. All right. So talking about the Heat have 6 guards that are just hitting open shots. They're doing what they were brought in to do in the first place. Is like when Jimmy Butler gets you the ball, shoot the damn thing and make the basket. If you do that, we're going to be successful. And for this playoffs, it's worked.
And on top of that, Bam has been realizing that he's an actual big man in the playoffs. He's going against Horford, and I'm not going to talk about Horford. I already said my piece about Horford. But Williams as well, going against Rob Williams, he's a big man. So the fact that Bam is still getting 15 to 20 and 10 to 12 boards a night with 5 assists, like, he's playing out of his mind for what he was playing in the regular season. So as a whole, I think Miami is just clicking, man. Everyone's playing good. And they don't even have Harrell. They have a 6-man rotation without Harrell. So it's crazy to see Gabe Vincent, Strus, Duncan Robinson's coming off the bench. Like, these guys are just hitting massive shots. And they were 6, 7, 8, 9 men in the fucking regular season. And Spoelstra's giving them 12 minutes a game, and they're coming in on fire. Like, the guy's a legend.
And he could, like, with this rotation, with having that many guys, you just ride the hot hand. Like, who's hitting shots that night? Okay, you're in crunch time. Hit the shots again.
For sure. That's what they've been doing with Lowry a lot. Like, they'll give him the first, 8 minutes. He goes 0 for 2. We'll see you in the third quarter.
Right. And if you look at how they played in the regular season versus how they're playing now, it's totally different. Like, in the regular season, if they were down 20 in the third, Jimmy Butler's done. He's untying his shoes. He's not playing. Spoelstra's just saving all the tread on the tires for the time that matters. Get to the playoffs and then see what can happen.
Yeah, and he looks like a fucking genius when he does it.
Yes. Speaking of Duncan Robinson that you just mentioned, shout out to him becoming the Heat's all-time playoff threes leader. So that's huge for a Michigan man.
See you later, La Bum.
And it's a great story to hear, right? Like
D3.
went D3 to Michigan to undrafted to Miami.
Huge contract.
Huge contract, and then never played, and then just getting brought in for a series. And hey, what's up?
That's why you paid me. Who cares if
Right.
I don't even score a bucket all year as long as I do it in the conference finals?
Right, and he's been making like backdoor cuts and getting easy layups, and it's like this is the Duncan Robinson that when I remember watching him at Michigan, that's what we got to see. It
Yeah,
was a
little
lot of fun.
sneaky guard, He was always known for his threes, but the other night he had 15 points and only 2 of them were threes when I
Right.
looked. So and he had 0 free throws. So he was literally making good plays. And he was
Yep.
when he comes in the game, everyone thinks 3-3-3. He catches it, pump fake, see you later. He's in the third row in the bleachers.
Right.
So it's really cool to see him excel like when they need him the most and didn't do shit all year, and then seeing him pass LeBron as an all-time leading three-pointer in the playoffs for Miami is just cherry on top.
Absolutely. Crazy that LeBron had it in just 4 seasons too. Like I would have thought D Wade if you would have asked me.
Well, that man was not shooting twos.
I know. Where does Jimmy for you rank all time on the Heat list for you?
So just trying to remember, it was Dwayne Wade, or it was LeBron, or what was it? Dwayne, LeBron, Alonzo, him.
And then you have Shaq in there as well. So you got to kind of those are the top 5. I've pretty much consensus from everyone.
Okay, so Butler's still on his journey. If he somehow fucking beat Joker in the finals, you might as well just put him at 1 because he just beat what should have been a 3-time unanimous MVP. I know you're saying chill, but Jimmy taking this team, and if he won a chip with this team, it'd be like LeBron winning the chip with that team he took to the playoffs. Like this team should not be in the fucking finals. And then you had to go through, and the East wasn't soft.
Right.
It now looks like it, but Philly and Boston all year, and then the Knicks were hot as ever. And you gotta win in the Garden. So
took out the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks too, obviously. Giannis got hurt though.
Agreed.
So, but just looking at their run, you take out Giannis, you take out Joker alone, like those two. That's like one of the craziest runs to not have a Batman or Robin. He's Iron Man. He's the only guy doing it.
Yeah. Yep.
He's got to make his own fucking gadgets and do it himself.
I like what you're saying. I will respectfully disagree. I think he will be, if he wins it all, I think he is number 3 for sure.
For sure. I'm obviously not saying he's number 1, and I know you're glazing D Wade a little bit, but he's just D Wade's going to be the all-time legend in Miami.
For sure.
You see someone in a Miami uniform 9 times out of 10, it's a D Wade jersey.
Right.
Like,
but as far as like all-time runs, this is special to see. Like Cardiac Kemba in March Madness, you got playoff Jimmy in the 2023 playoffs. Like hopefully he can get it done. He tried in the bubble, but it came up short. Hopefully this year he has a little bit better success.
I'll just be happy if they get there. Like that'll
for sure.
I mean, they're already up 3-0, so it's not that crazy if they do. And a little recency bias with me, being a little crazy about it.
Oh, definitely.
I just feel like this run is just crazy.
It's super
definitely impressive. Is. Jimmy Butler, 29 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists in the playoffs so far. He's played 110 games before this year in the playoffs and averaged 21, 6, and 4. So he's got about a 9-point boost this year just in the playoffs. And then he's sitting around the same rebounds, and his assists are about the same as well. Well, he's got a little more in both, but still, just a 9-point boost after already playing 110 games. Like that's insane.
Yep. The man is special for sure. Um, I can't wait to see how far they go, and then if it does end short, what kind of things they do to help mold the roster even more, and who they can bring in or who they can trade away, that kind of
One
stuff.
thing I will say that helps them a lot is their surrounding cast is playing good ball, so that's very good trade value. You can do
Right.
it in the conference finals. You can get to a championship. We'll see for you guys later, and we'll bring in someone. That would be nice.
Speaking of trading, though, like vice versa for Boston, things are kind of imploding. Like we kind of talked about it in the previous episode, but where's Jaylen Brown going to go? Do they have to ship him off? What do you think?
I see a lot of Knicks fans want him.
Yeah,
I see a lot of Knicks fans say he's kind of undervalued in Boston. I I would love to see him go to the East just so they can play Boston and it just
right.
have that little head to head a couple times a year. I think that whole roster is going to get blown up except Tatum.
I kind of has
There'll,
to,
there'll
right? Like
obviously
at
be
this
a
point,
couple other guys that just they couldn't get rid of them and they just low cap or whatever. But you would think Brogdon, White, Brown, Horford or Williams, one of the two. Probably. I mean, Horford's got to be gone. He's 40 years old. And Rob, I mean, I don't. It seems like you got to restart. It seems like we're in the same situation that Philly was a few years ago,
right?
where like we have to blow everything up except our main guy in Embiid and build around him completely. That seems like what they're going to have to do for Tatum, because as of late, you know, the fourth quarter woes have been there, but he's still that guy, especially on that team. And it's not like you can get rid of everyone. So you got to build around something, and it's going to be Jason Tatum.
Right, and you can't hope and pray that you don't match up with the Heat every year in the playoffs because Jimmy's not going anywhere, and you know he's going to lock you ass down if he gets to see you in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Giannis will be back.
Right.
Milwaukee will be back, I promise. They're going to be super quiet in the offseason, and they will be healthy, and they'll be back, and they'll do what they do in the regular season. They always win a fuckload of games. We'll see what they do in the playoffs if they can stay healthy. But the East isn't getting any easier.
Right, and I agree. I think they do have to explode everything because Jaylen Brown is he's eligible to become the highest paid player in NBA history this offseason.
Yeah, and that ain't happening under Boston management.
Right,
they're not signing that.
They're not going to do that and have Tatum, who is like obviously the best player on their team. You're going to have to beat that coming forward. Like, yeah, Tatum would be next year, I think, right? They were Jaylen Brown in the next draft took Tatum, I think.
Yeah, just get rid of Tatum, blow that up, send it all to the Mavericks, and have Kyrie come in with Tatum.
Back to Boston? No way. Kyrie's not coming back to Boston.
Yeah, they hate him there. I mean, he's got like 5 franchises that hate him right now. He's kind of on the
well, he keeps exploding everywhere he goes. Like
the Mavs, the Dallas thing is not his fault. I will never put that on him. He was relying on Corey Kluber to hit fucking threes a game. Reggie Bullock to score 12 and get 8 boards. I mean, they didn't have a fucking team.
Right. And as far as the Mavs go, it's sad because I thought they had a pretty decent team last year, and then it's what are you gonna do? You can't get rid of Luka because it's Luka, but you're not gonna. They had
2 routes. They could go the Kyrie way, superstar, trade away, or they could double down and try to be in Miami and be a team because that's kind of what they were last year. They had those guys making shots when they need it, and then Luka was still having his crazy stat line games. So as the owner, you want to get a chip in the next. You always want to win the chip this year, but within the next 3 years, like that's what you're aiming for. It's super hard to have a talent like that, Luka, and then be like, nah, like we just got to keep building. Maybe in 5 years we'll make this run. Maybe in 3 years, in 4 years, 5 years we'll make this run. You're like, at one point, you're just like, fuck it, Kyrie, come on, let's see if we can do this. And then it blows up and you look like a dickhead. But as a management, it's really hard to go the fucking Spoelstra way and see if these role players are going to pan out and hit like very needed shots in the playoffs. So
you're right.
It's just 2 ways of thinking.
A lot of people I've seen in the trade realm talk. Obviously, you have the Kyrie, Anthony Davis stuff. People want Kyrie to go back to LA to play with LeBron, but I've heard Dame's name quite a bit
in LA.
No, coming
Oh.
to the East Coast. Either going to Philly or going to Boston.
Would they keep James with them?
Yeah.
Boy. Let me see
Right.
that. Let me see that. I would love to let Embiid have a run now.
It'll be interesting. It doesn't sound like the East is getting any easier. That's for sure.
Well, I hope that happens, and the East is super spicy next year because the West is going to be fun regardless. They'll always have
Right.
the Lakers bullshit, Golden State, the Suns are going to be the Suns, and then you're going to have the defending champions
Right.
in Denver. So,
You're 100% correct. You're 100%
hey,
correct.
the NBA is looking good.
I agree.
It's a pretty good
I
product other than the 3-0 sweep. So we'll see. We'll see. I really fucking hope that the finals at least goes to 6. And I know the NBA really needs it too. That is a lot of money gone.
We missed out on a lot of games this for the conference finals, so we got to make it up in the finals.
That's how
And I
all
think
the
they probably
playoffs
will.
are. That's how all
Right.
the playoffs are right now in fucking basketball and hockey. It's just 2-0s, 3-0s right now, sweeps.
You're right. Like speaking, I mean, hockey. Vegas is up 2-0 on the Stars. Both games have gone to overtime, and Vegas has put it in. They play tonight, I think, for Game 3 in Dallas. So we'll see if Vegas can go up 3-0 or not. And then last night, the Panthers went up 3-0 on the Hurricanes. Breaking my
Crazy
heart.
fucking series though. A 6
Right.
or 4 overtime or whatever.
4 overtimes for Game 1. Game 2 also went to overtime, and then last night was just 1-0. Like
That's crazy.
you can't like. You're in the game. They have shots that are going off the post in overtime that would win it, or last night in the third period that would tie it to send it to overtime again. So they're just getting unlucky, but the Panthers are playing well. They're the 8 seed as well, just like the Heat. The Florida teams, if they're an 8 seed, look out. They're pretty damn good.
It'd be dope to see them both in the finals. Miami will be rocking.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That state might catch on fire.
It's crazy that they had quad overtime, then 1-0.
Yep.
I cannot believe that, bro. How much that they're playing like a whole extra series with 5 overtimes right there.
I thought of ESPN obviously tallied up the ice minutes for the 4 overtime game, and it was like a whole nother game added on top of it.
Yeah, that's wild. Wait, do they do 3-on-3 when it goes down to? Isn't hockey? Isn't that what they do or some shit like that?
You put me on the spot for my hockey knowledge, but I do think that in the regular season they do. I don't know about playoffs.
I thought after double overtime it went to like 3-on-3 or something. I completely forgot. That would be electric.
Right, we got 3-on-3 hockey.
Dude, 3-on-3 hockey, playoff hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. Imagine just smoking someone and you deplete them and you're on 3-on-2 with the goalie.
Right.
That's fucked. Yeah, Miami's going to be doing backflips. They're going to be making a lot of money if they both go.
Postseason in hockey is 5-on-5, but in the regular season it goes to 3-on-3.
Okay. They're keeping the integrity of the game in the playoffs. I respect it, but man, that would be fun to watch. 3-on-3 hockey, bro. There'd be so much space for people to just be doing dekes and make one-on-one moves to try to score.
And no shootouts, obviously, either. Can you imagine a playoff shootout?
That place would be fucking crazy.
For sure. Another thing that happened this past weekend, PGA Championship.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch it at all?
No, I didn't get to watch it. I got the updates.
Okay. I also didn't get to watch it. I was taking a course this weekend, but Brooks Koepka won. He wins his 5th major. The guy who wanted to win the Masters and was, just couldn't do it for himself. But the real story of the weekend was Michael Block, guy no one's ever heard of as far as like the casual golf fan.
Nobody in the world has heard of him except that specific clubhouse, bro.
He's a course pro in California. He made the cut and then finished tied for 15th. So what's that mean for him? He made $286,000.
Money.
Right. He gets an automatic bid to next year's tournament. and actually got invited to a tournament this weekend in Canada, I'm pretty sure.
That's so sick, man. Congrats
It's
to
just
him.
awesome to see. Like he had he had Jordans on for Sunday's round. He was wearing Jordans playing. He got paired with Rory, and during an interview, like they told him, "Hey, we just heard you got paired with Rory for tomorrow on Saturday," and he's like, "You got to be kidding!" And like walked around and then came back. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna have some fun, that's for sure."
That's dope.
And then hole 15 comes on Sunday, and this man jars the par 3. No
Swish.
grass, just nothing but the bottom of the hole.
Dude, that's
Good.
insane.
I can't even imagine.
He could have never made the cut, never made $1, and he hits that shot. That's still Hall of Fame. That's legendary for him.
Right? No, absolutely. Yeah, that'll be probably the best memory of his whole life.
That'll be the best memory of his kid's life and his wife's life. Like everyone's life changed because he one had the shot, and then two, he's making almost $300K off of 3 days of golf.
Right, and he hit it, and you hear the cameras like, "Did that just go in?"
He's literally speaking for the entire world.
Right, and I mean, it's awesome to see. Obviously, he's a fan of Rory McIlroy, and who can't be? You know, if you're a golf fan nowadays, Rory's one of those names that if you're going to play with him, you're getting a little nervous. Like the jitters are going, and he showed out. He tied for 15th. That's awesome.
Yeah, congrats to him, man. That's one of those feel good sports stories. That's like why we watch sports. Shit like that happens, and you just tip your cap, man. That's super impressive for him to even be able to go out there and make the cut, let alone getting top 20.
Right.
He's like, I fucking deserve to be here. I just needed the shot.
Right. I think I was reading it in an interview. He said, "Yeah, my game is good enough to compete with these guys." I'm like, he's got the confidence.
I like
that's
that.
for sure.
You have to have that. There's no way you're not that confident playing
Right.
that well because you got to be aggressive at the pin. If you're going in the top 20, you're not playing for pars at that point.
Right. What's the worst that can happen, right?
I'm back
going down
here
swinging.
going to work like I am anyways.
Right. And like, can you imagine, like, okay, you got this bid, you're playing well, and then you decide to play casual, like, you know, not as aggressive, and then you don't do anything? You would hate yourself for the rest of your life.
For sure.
I didn't go for it when I could have.
One shot, one opportunity, and that man
seized
cashed out on that one. Yeah, that's
sure.
dope, bro.
For sure.
$286K for 4 days when you didn't even know you were going to be doing that like a week, 2 weeks later is unfucking real.
Sounds like the best job in the world.
Dude, that sounds amazing. It's like a bullpen catcher or something.
Right. Yeah, that would be a job too, for sure. Some top fives.
Yeah, let's get into some top fives here.
Okay.
Our first one we're going to do is top 5 college quarterbacks since 2000. So that's our era. There's been a few of these popping up on social media, getting a lot of traction and attention. Do you want me to read you off the shit list that we read before?
Yeah, go ahead and tell if you follow us on Twitter, guys, you have Riley and I kind of were going back and forth about this earlier today, just talking about what the hell is this list that we found.
So the list that they had was from 1 to 5. We're going to give ours, and I'm just going to do top 5. I'm not going to go 1 to 5, but their number fucking 1 is Baker Mayfield. Number 1 from the 2000s.
All 22 years, and they pick Baker Mayfield.
Fucking Mayfield. Number 2, Cam Newton. It's respectable, not that high, but whatever. If you have him on your top 5, I ain't mad. Vince Young, Tim Tebow, Joe Burrow. The fact for me that they have Joe Burrow next to Tim Tebow is kind of upsetting. And then the fact that they have Baker and Cam Newton above Vince Young is just fucking disgusting.
I don't know what to say other than, like, okay, there's 2 guys in the top 5 that literally did it for 1 year and 1 year only. And they got put the top 5 best quarterbacks of the 2000s. Get the fuck out of here.
That's what I'm saying. Did AI make the list? Did someone that never actually watched the games make the list?
Right. If you're, like, basing it on, like, best single season, yeah, Cam Newton, I mean, it's hard to beat that, right? Joe Burrow, he set every record possible in his one season at LSU that he played well. Like, yeah, great job. but I'm sorry, neither of those names make my list.
Neither of them.
Neither.
Okay, let me hear your list. Let me hear yours.
Number one, I will argue till the cows come home. Greatest college quarterback of all time, Tim Tebow.
Yeah, you got to give the man his flowers. You got to give the man his flowers.
Right. Look at his stats; they don't lie. And I just every time I think of how great Tim Tebow was, it goes back to the post game interview when they lost.
I'll never let another inferior team. That one.
I promise you'll never see another person work as hard as I do for the rest of the season, and like it gives me chills. Like
sure.
He is that dude.
And then he's doing that with the whole team of killers.
Right. He was, the messiah on the team full of
for sure.
convicts. Number two for me is Vince Young. His stats don't lie. He led the Longhorns over the dynasty of the 2000s for college football. Like they toppled Reggie Bush and the Trojans.
One of the best games ever.
Agreed.
Ever.
But if you look at that season, Texas was beating teams like 90-something to 0. Like Vince Young was on another level.
He was doing what Cordell did to those kids in the hospital. 118 to 0.
Number three, I have who Vince Young beat, Matt Leinart.
I knew you were going to take his dumb ass.
Okay, was he the best quarterback in the world as far as NFL? No.
He had Reggie Bush on his team and lost.
Agreed. But for being the quarterback,
he have Palomalu too?
No.
Oh, I was going to say.
At least I don't think he might. I guess I would have. I don't think he had Troy though.
I was about to say.
But looking at it, like Matt Leinart, the USC was a dynasty. Matt Leinart was the quarterback for that dynasty. He has to be on this list in my eyes. Number four, I go back to a Longhorn, Colt McCoy. The only thing this man didn't do for Texas was win a national championship, and that was probably because of the college football with the way they did things with the FBS system, right? Yeah. Not having a playoffs. And then number five for me was Sam Bradford. I thought he did everything at Oklahoma that Baker Mayfield did, except he also won a national championship. The stats, Baker Mayfield did beat Sam Bradford as far as stats-wise, but Sam won a Heisman. Sam won a national championship. Baker Mayfield couldn't get it done. So that's my list.
That's respectable. We're pretty similar. I'm not gonna. I guess I'll go 1 through 5, but we're very similar. My number one is Tim Tebow.
Oh, all right.
32 touchdowns, 3,300 yards, 6 interceptions on 350 attempts. In college, that's fucking absurd.
Yep.
I know he had Percy Harvin and he was slinging out the bubble screens a lot, but 350 passes attempts. You never turn the ball over. Hard-nosed runner. He's got the hardware to prove it. I mean, he's number one for me in 2000 era. Number two, Vince Young, legend, big-time plays, big-time games. One of the most electrifying quarterbacks that we got to see, and he ran differently than other mobile quarterbacks, where they were set for him, or they were running like draws and shit like that. Like he was just extremely mobile outside of the pocket and just making plays for himself on not pre-planned plays. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then number three for me is Trevor Lawrence. He's number one recruit coming out of high school, backed it up, 38-2 record, 29 straight fucking wins. It's pretty hard to do as a freshman. 29 straight wins, and then only losing 2 games in your career, going first overall in the NFL. I mean, he did what he had to do. He was the number one recruit, number one pick to the NFL. So I think he's in the top 5.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think his only losses were in the playoffs too.
Yeah, 100%.
He beat Bama. He beat a Saban Bama team. Like that, honorable mention, I would put Trevor Lawrence on there for sure. Like great call.
Yeah, he just won so much. It was hard, and we obviously got to see it being a little older, so it was a little more easily respectable and being able to watch it and stuff. Number 4, my boy Johnny Manziel. Being able to beat Bama as a freshman, and he I won't say he changed the game, but he invigorated the game when he was playing. Like, they weren't even the best team, but for some reason they're always talking about A&M and Johnny Manziel. He being able to beat Bama and being able to go into the SEC and play them dogs as a freshman and come out on top and then talking your shit. He's in my top 5 for the 2000s era. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks, someone I try to emulate. He was a legend in my eyes. And then
I completely understand.
Yeah.
I agree.
He was one of the best quarterbacks of 2000s for sure. And my last one is Joe Burrow. Instant game changer as soon as he gets to LSU. And he just won games. I mean, he won games and broke records. It was really hard. I think my 3 through 5 could just be shuffled around. Number 1, Tim Tebow. That'll stay there. Vince Young, number 2. That's it. Anything other than that is you could go look at stats. You go look at wins, conference titles, Heisman's, whatever you want to do. But I think number 1 and 2 are locked.
I mean, it's hard to argue. Obviously, like we share 1 and 2, and then 3 through 5. We could argue back and forth till the cows come home, and I don't think anyone will be mad with whatever list we come up with, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I really do like your list, though. Those are some names. Johnny Manziel, like you said, didn't change the game, but made you excited to watch college football again. You know, like, okay, Michigan wasn't as good as they should have been during those years, but I was having fun watching Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, and he won big games. Like, being able to beat Bama in general. You could be a senior and you beat Bama because they haven't had a down year.
Right.
So being able to beat them and just being able to knock them out of the SEC, and it was towards the end of the year.
Right.
And it was just a monumental game as a freshman, and just the way he played the game was extremely fun to watch, and he won games for him.
He's out there running behind the line like Mike Vick, back and forth, fumbled the football and then caught it and threw. Like, it's just, he was something else.
He wasn't oversized. He wasn't fast. He didn't have a rocket of an arm. He just was a dog. Like, he was smooth as fuck, and he was just super fun to watch. But like I said, he wasn't extremely talented, just like being able to watch him or just being able to, like, his 4.4 speed or anything.
Right. I had a Money Manziel sweatshirt, so
I think everyone did, man.
Yeah, made Cece get it for me for Christmas.
We all wanted to be like him during that time, bro.
For sure.
All right, next top 5 to cap us off for the night. Top 5 scorers in the NBA since 2000. A lot of these are going to be similar, just different order.
Agreed. And this is another one that we kind of went at today on Twitter. Not went at, but just talked about and reacted to the list that we saw. I kind of gave away how I feel about the list on Twitter, but I'll let you go first, and I'll finish it off.
Okay, I'm not going to go top 5. I'm just going to name 5 because it's just there's no top 5. Being like top 5 scorer, it's just the top scorer. You know what I mean? Like, they're all the same to me. It's like 1A, 1B, 1C, basically.
Yep.
Number 1, Kobe. He is one of the greatest scorers of all time. Complete game, complete package, and you can't take away his mentality when you think of scoring. So when you think of that dog with the ball, you're going to think of Kobe. So he's number 1. Not too much to talk about. Number 2, Steph Curry. He literally changed the game. He changed the game of scoring the ball, not even basketball, but how you score. So I think he's got to be a top 3 scorer since the 2000s and all time.
Very underrated. Like, as obviously his 3-point game gets the, accolades it deserves, but like everything else he does as far as going to the rim, that kind of stuff, underrated.
Yeah, he's a super big finesse player. Like, he has so many soft floaters, teardrop banks and shit like that. All the crazy float game you see, like he does like pre-game. Like, he actually does that in the game.
Right.
So he's number 2 for me. Number 3, I'm going to go KD. I thought in the past year or two, KD's kind of been lacking on my list. But before that, I would have told you KD was the best scorer of all time ever. You could have put him in any era before. You could put him in the NBA in 100 years, and he'll still be able to go out and get you 35 and 8. So that was my sense. Like I said, he's kind of been lacking the last few years on my personal agenda or list, but he's still in the top 3 for me. Number 4, I have LeBron James. He's got the most points. It's pretty hard not to say he's a top 5 scorer if he's literally got the most points since 2000. So best field goal percentage, best or most points scored. So I can't leave him off the list. There's not too much to talk about him. And number 5, I'm going to put AI up there. Not only is he one of my favorite players to watch, but he was putting up 30 points a game, and he was maybe shooting 1-3 a night. So the guy's 6 foot tall, getting into the lane with bigs and still being able to put up 30. I thought he was one of the most prolific ball handlers at the time, which kind of influenced him to be able to get to the bucket so much, incomparable to other guys. But I just thought his handles put him on a different list of being in the score. So
Yeah, talk about having that dog in him. Like AI had that dog.
AI had that dog.
Do you have any honorable mention? Anything like that?
I don't have. I didn't write any down, but just off the top of my head, like Melo, he just retired in 2000.
And that's kind of why this came out. Like Jay Williams, this is the list he came up with because of Melo's retirement.
Okay. Now go ahead, go with yours.
So my top 5, a lot of the same names. Kobe is number 1. I think if you look at how he revolutionized his game based on how the game was changing, it's so much different than what everyone else does or has done on this list. Like everyone else, the number 2 kind of did the same thing, but I think Kobe did it a higher clip and better than what number 2 did. Kobe, if I need a bucket and it has to be a guy from the 2000s, it can't be MJ. I'm gonna pick Kobe. Number 2 for me is LeBron James. Highest points per game average for a career of anyone on this list from the 2000s. Obviously, he came into the league the 2003 season. He was drafted in 2003, and he already broke the title, or is already the number 1 scorer in NBA history. So it's hard to not put him on this list. People forget, like, okay, yeah, Steph Curry's averaging like 28 to 30 points a game right now, but like LeBron did that already in his prime, and he still averages like 25 to 27 points a game right now at 38. Number 3 for me is Kevin Durant. The Durantula, like what can you say? 7 foot tall, can dribble the ball like a guard, and can shoot over the top. He can't be blocked. The man is just different.
Crazy specimen, crazy athlete. He's got toothpick legs, and he's never fucking broke a leg. I don't know what's going on.
Right, and like at the NBA Combine, couldn't bench 225, and told a reporter, "When's the last time a basketball weighed 225?" I don't know if you've picked up a basketball lately, but it doesn't.
That's a beautiful quote. Put that quote in the rafters, especially with his legacy and what he actually did in his career. Being able to say that in college is fucking hilarious.
Absolutely. Number 4 for me is Melo. When I think of scorer from the 2000s, Carmelo Anthony is the guy. Did he do anything else on the basketball court? That's debatable, right? But like Carmelo Anthony, scorer. If you look at what he did in the Olympics, score and changed his game, was able to hit threes. I think that he could still play and be a valuable asset to a team, but he hung it up. So good for him. I hope he lives at peace and can just watch basketball now, right?
For sure. I think Hoodie Melo would have been in the top 3, though.
If he could play like that all the time, right? Like if he could have done that and channeled it to the NBA games, I agree. Like,
well, yeah, but you never had to play defense then, so it was a little easier.
That's true. Number 5 for me is Steph Curry. Changed the game of basketball and how it's played forever. And then, like I already kind of mentioned when you were talking, was just underrated as far as 2-point baskets goes. He gets to the hole. He finishes well. He has floaters. He has pull-up shots, everything. So
for sure. He changed the game. He's got your 8-year-old cousin shooting half courts in middle school, bro.
Right. Exactly.
Nobody was doing that shit. You're getting yanked by the ear.
Yeah,
by your
literally-
parents, not even the
right.
coach.
Literally running sprints on the sideline. I did have an honorable mention. Allen Iverson for me, honorable mention. If I'm picking 6 foot or under, AI is number one. I think I forget who quoted it, but
Kobe.
if AI was 6'3" or 6'4", we'd be talking about the best scorer of all time.
Yeah.
No doubt. 2 more on my honorable mention. Tracy McGrady. Look at what he did against the Spurs in, I think, 17 seconds. That's all you need to know.
Look the clip, check the film.
Yep. And then the last one is Kyrie. I do think his finishing and ability to get a bucket is unparalleled. And fourth quarter comes and he's a dog. Like, he is going to score and he's going to get hot when it matters. He's great, but unfortunately he's a cancer. So
For sure. I think he's exceptional with his back to the rim inside the 3-point line. Like, he has that, like, not Kobe, but he like tried to get more of that into his game, and you could tell like he developed throughout his career, and that was fun to watch because he used to just be ball in the hand, blow past you, dish it off, or do some crazy finish. And now he can like slow it down, back you down if you got man to man, and then just be able to make a play.
Right.
So yeah,
I
it's
agree.
super cool to watch. It's a damn good list. We are still very similar. 12 episodes in. We do top fives. We got at least 2 sharing, so at least we're on the same page here.
Yep. I don't think it'll change pretty much because we like the same things.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's wrap this puppy up. It was good talking to you again, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was good to have you back. I know you're gonna do a vacation for a few days, so we might be about a week out till the next episode.
Absolutely. I'll be in South Carolina starting tomorrow night. So I'll be back next Tuesday. So Tuesday night I could probably do another episode.
Cool, yeah. Enjoy yourself, man. Soak some sun up for me.
I will definitely do that.
All right, guys, we appreciate you listening. As always, check us out on social media. Hit the follow, hit the like, subscribe if you're listening. Much love from the Third Leg Podcast. Peace.
Peace.